networking comes from Ivan Meisner, who's the head of BNI, and I really like this one. So first of all, you have to be visible in the community. You have to get out there and connect with people. It's not called net sitting or net eating or net coffee dating. It's called networking because you have to work at it. And I think that's very true. And as we would all agree, it's not what you know, it's who you know. The internet's been such an amazing leveler, and a key part for any business owner or any woman trying to be successful today is that you need to have help solve a problem. You need to have people offering you advice, and through amazing things like this wonderful world, we can connect with lots of people and explore new and great ideas. So your network is really your most valuable resource. And the statistics, according to the New York Times, more than 65% of new business comes through from referral. More than 80% of people trust the information given to them by their network. So you can see the absolute power of having a good network. So what I just thought we would do is go around and just have a little bit of an idea of what things bother people about networking. So we might start with Tanya, because I'm looking at her sparkly dress. So Tanya, is there something that you particularly would like to learn about networking, or something that bothers you?
Oh, look, not particularly. Like, I do a fair bit of networking. I'm quite comfortable with it, so it doesn't really faze me too much. I have to say I love the fact that I have a sparkly dress, because my personal mantra is never let anyone dull your sparkle. So, Claire, you've done an awesome job on the dress, because it just totally suits. Totally suits. But no, from a networking point of view, yeah, like I've always been a big networker. One of my pet peeves, I suppose, is the person that, you know, that you wants to come in and meet 500 people and hand out 500 cards, and they go, oh, hi, how are you? What do you do? And you can see their eyes glaze over, and they're on the next person giving them the card. For me, when I do networking, if my goal is really it's not about actually finding new clients. It's about meeting one or two new people, having a connection with one or two new people, and having a really good conversation with one or two new people. So I don't go wanting to meet a lot of people. I'm like, if I meet one or two people that I have a connection with, I have a really good conversation with, then that's, to me, is great. And I'm more about looking for strategic partnerships and people that I can collaborate with at networking events. So I probably take a little bit of a different perspective on networking. I know a lot of people are all about generating new business, but for me, I go, you know what, it's just about increasing my network and my connections and building relationships. And I have friends that I have met through networking events and so forth. And exactly, didn't go with an agenda of what can I get. I try and always go with an agenda of how can I help someone, who can I introduce them to. So it's probably quite a selfless attitude, I suppose, when it comes to networking.
Sounds perfect. All right, Laura, is there anything you particularly want to focus on?
For me, business, I'm always focused, or I'm always working in my business. So it's always nice to see something that's easy to get to. Like locally, sometimes they have different community events that, you know, for all the businesses in the area. But I have a global business. So I need to meet people globally. I don't need to meet people in the Dallas area. I don't have a lot of non-English speakers there. So I need to work with corporations. And the other thing is to work with women in business. Most everything that we do, it all goes to men. And so that's a big thing that's important to me anyway.
I think I would agree with that. We'll maybe touch on a few ideas around that. Tiffany, have you got anything that you want to focus on?
Well, for me, and I loved what you. Who was the first person that spoke?
Tanya.
Look, Tanya, I loved what you said, and that's exactly what I'm aiming to do is, building those relationships, and it's not business card swapping, and it is building those relationships over time. So that's awesome. And I'm quite new here to the Gold Coast, and I'm out there building those relationships. So I guess for me tonight, I would love to ask anyone that's got contacts up here to intro me and to introduce me to their contacts in Brisbane and Gold Coast.
So wear, as many of you are at the moment, a lot of glammy outfits which provide you with icebreakers. Now, one of the things we do at Business in Heels is we always have a prize for the best heels, which is a bit of fun. And it doesn't mean you have to wear heels, but it immediately gives you a talking point. So whether it's a beautiful necklace or whether it's a lovely dress, one of the key things that you can do when you go to a networking event is wear something a little bit interesting. And it really makes it easy for other people to then connect with you. So you're actually doing them a favour, particularly if there's a great story attached to it, because suddenly you get into a great conversation just because you're wearing some amazing necklace. And yes, so online shoe stores, I think, are definitely something we haven't thought about yet, Claire, but definitely something we could add into the whole online side of it. So the next thing to think about is your opening, and there's a couple of really key things about openings. So keep it short. Many of you would know of this as your elevator pitch. We like to call it an opening because we don't really like the salesiness of the pitch idea. And it's really important to keep it short, and that's why it was always called the elevator pitch, because you had to say it in about 10 seconds as the elevator went up. Be really specific about how you help people. A lot of people, particularly coaches, will talk about how I energize people and I inspire and I empower people. But really, what exactly do you do? What does that mean? And it's really important to try and tease out how that is specific. It's great to hear emotive words, and everybody wants to know what you're passionate about, and trying to get down to your why is really, really important. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. If you ran a candle business, this is a great one. Our candles are flammable works of art that make the room smell divine. They're aromatic and they're sensual depending on their scent. Now, don't you want to just go and buy them because you've just got this great idea of what the candles are? So if I then went and gave you my elevator pitch, it would explain to you more specifically what we do. So I often say to people, mine's the best job in the world. All day, every day, inspiring women running fantastic businesses connect with me to help market their business. So whether it's via speaking engagement, event partnerships, samples for goodie bags, tickets for events, or franchising opportunities, we can point them in the right direction for their circumstance and get a noticeable result. So Business in Heels has transformed my life, and I love using it to do the same for other women. So immediately you know all the different ways I can help you, and it allows people then to think of people that they would want to connect to me. And so if you have a look at your elevator pitch, see there's one I in that whole sentence, so it doesn't tell you about exactly the thing that I do, it tells you about what's in it for you, the person connecting with me. So if your elevator pitch or your opening doesn't address any of those issues, then you need to probably have a look at reworking it. And for those of you, when you first meet someone, you're asking the question, don't ask someone, what do you do? Ask somebody, what do you love doing? And immediately you get beyond that, I'm an accountant or I'm a photographer, to what people are passionate about. And once you can get into what people really feel about, particularly with women, you end up having a great conversation with them. Now, we talked about, and Tanya talked more about, working on the how to help. So when you're having a conversation with people and you're building a rapport with them, it's really important to think about trying to listen for people's pain points, because this gives you the amazing cues on how you can help them. So if you listen for what's worrying people, what they're confused about, what they're complaining about, what bothers them, or conversely, what amazingly big dreams they have, but they're not quite close to filling. All of those points give you the clues on how you can help people, which is where you start the business off of maybe giving them a referral, maybe then going to have the coffee date. So Claire mentioned any idea on the follow-up. Well, straight after a meeting or in a meeting, I would note down on a business card, ideally. So one of the key things, ladies, is bring your business cards along, because it's really hard to follow up when you don't have them. And I note down anything that I had committed to connecting people to. So I'm going to send Laura the We Connect link and she can have a look at that. And so I'll make a note of that, and immediately when I go back the next day and I try and follow up within 48 hours, I would actually put the date on that business card where I met the person, who I'm following up, so I have that record there. And then I would do it in Gmail. And I don't know if any of you have heard of this really cool program. It's called Reportive, and it's linked to LinkedIn. So the minute you put somebody's email in, it pops up their LinkedIn connection, and from that one email you can connect to LinkedIn without having to jump from program to program. And so it's a really useful tool to get yourself connected quite quickly. And I have thousands of connections, but it's a really, really great tool. And so from once you follow up, you next time, it's very hard a networking event, take the time to really make those even better connections and really understand somebody's business and think about how you can help them and get to that point where you feel that you want to trust them and maybe give them a referral. Because remember, it's your reputation on the line when you are giving out referrals. So you want to be really sure that the person's going to treat them well. And so another part of the whole package is to talk briefly about testimonials. Once you actually start working with people, the very next thing is to get a testimonial. And testimonials are the absolute gold in your business, because they tell other people what you're like to work with, right? And so many women won't ask for testimonials, but people really are very happy to give them. And so I would encourage all of you to ask for testimonials, but be prepared, if and when you do ask for them, you'll often get the reciprocal ask back of you. So if you're not prepared to give it for someone, then don't ask for it from that particular person. So I think that was a very quick whip through some of networking. Obviously, there's a hell of a lot more behind it. But just to recap, networking is really simply about helping other people. So if you can understand what it is you can do to help, then you can help them. So you need to take that time to build up that rapport as you meet and connect with them. My key tips for you to think about is, trying to be a bit strategic about how you do your networking. Networking can be a massive time investment for many people. And a lot of people don't necessarily think of networking as their marketing, but essentially that is what it is. And it's a much more cost-effective way of marketing your business than by spending dollars on AdWords and some of the Facebook advertising, because ultimately when somebody refers someone to you, they're ready to do business with you. So it's a much better way of working. And for a lot of big businesses, the rule of thumb is 10 to 20% of their budget goes into marketing. So if you're trying to work out how you apportion your time and how you think about how much time or money to invest in networking, it's a really good rule of thumb. So plan what you're trying to do, plan who you're trying to meet, try and think about collaborations and ways that you can grow and scale your business, and then try and be planned and prepared for your event, and then plan the follow-up, because if you don't do any follow-up, you might as well have wasted all the time that you've invested prior to that. And then relationships take time. Really good relationships might take 10 to 15 times of connecting before they're super strong. And so we all know this, but a lot of people get a little excited and want to rush the fence, I guess. And so I just encourage you, take good relationships, take time, and if you can focus on that, simply helping people, that's what it's all about. So does anyone have any questions?